during the time of Ravi Varma, this was a very affluent place. Time, certain flashes of what there was around him in this huge estate. They appeared in his charming paintings. So there are women and men who played the veena, painted, sang, and the women who wound flowers around their hair. I'm just showing you a close-up to just show you how beautifully the face is painted. So women, playing with and putting flowers in their hair. Ravi Varma, of course, was no exception. What was even more noteworthy was that he was born at a time when the first wave of technological advances swept over colonial India. His temperament being what it was, he took full advantage of all the inventions that were appearing thick and fast around him. They opened his mental horizon in many ways, leading him into high creativity and perpetual discovery. Paradoxically, his aristocratic childhood environment was a traditional one, bound by several rules and regulations and dominated by the Nambudri Brahmins, who controlled these Kshatriyas with an iron fist. Of a particular narrative that Ravi Varma could. Here is Ravi Varma. On the left, he's at home in his traditional mundu and veshti, and to the in the smart when he visited Bombay as often. These Western clothes were never worn in Travancore because Travancore was not the place to wear Western clothes. And these were reserved entirely for the outer world that he traveled in. But actually, these two photographs symbolize the constant interconnection that continued in his being throughout his life. He was born in the large estate of Kilimanur, which is near Tirupati. Those of his descendants living here have profited as much as they possibly could by selling to Ravi Varma. So during the time of Ravi Varma, this was a very affluent place. Time, certain flashes of what there was around him in this huge estate. They appeared in his charming paintings. So there are women and men who played the veena, painted, sang, and the women who wound flowers around their hair. I'm just showing you a close-up to just show you how beautifully the face is painted. So women, playing with and putting flowers in their hair. And here was this woman who a visitor to Kilimanur who didn't quite know which bathing place was landed up at the bathing site for men and got horribly embarrassed when she was caught over there. This is painted by closely related to the Travancore royal family, and during his teens spent some years at the royal courts at Thiruvananthapuram. Over there, he observed several artists at work and, being naturally gifted, acquired a mastery over oil on canvas paintings. In later life, Ravi Varma was to take advantage of exclusive artists' materials sold in Bombay. We are back to the same painting, but this painting is important because when he was in Bombay, he used to buy his paints at Thacker's Pink and Company, where the paints used to come from England. The British used to bring paints for their Sunday painters. And of course, they were sold at the shops. And Ravi Varma bought these paints over there. Incidentally, one of the subscribers to the painting materials was the JJ School of Arts. So I want to show you, which you can see in the detail here, all the materials. There's a palette knife, there's a varnish bottle, the brushes, the palette. This painting is made by Ravi Varma's son, and it proudly displays the materials of painting. This was a very important thing at that time. You know, we take many things for granted now that were very special at that time. But now, to go back to the Travancore court, I digressed a bit. Now we go back to the Travancore court. There was a second-class painter from Europe, Theodor Jensen, who has been given the honor by certain historians as being Ravi Varma's teacher. But that's not really the case. Now, that's a painting by Theodor Jensen. And, you can see the quality is very different from what Ravi Varma did. The quality and the brushstrokes, everything, Ravi Varma is far superior to Theodor Jensen, who was not quite able to even get the Indian physiognomy correctly. But while Ravi Varma was at court, this very ambitious young man was quick to pick up as one of his benefactors the powerful Diwan of Travancore, Sir T. Madhav Rao. That's Sir T. Madhav Rao in later life, painted by Ravi Varma and commissioned by Lord Curzon. So this hangs in the Victoria Memorial in Calcutta. Madhav Rao was the first person to open up the larger world to the very cloistered Ravi Varma, who would by now have been straining to break away and breathe new air, his youthful genius seeking release Diwan to Baroda state just before the coronation of Sayaji III of Baroda. He bought from Ravi Varma this painting, Sita Bhumi Pravesh, as a wedding gift for Madhav Rao. With Madhav Rao buying this painting, Ravi Varma got the courage to beg Madhav Rao for an invitation to witness the wedding and the investiture of Sayaji Rao. He begged him. So Madhav Rao agreed. It was to be a real eye-popper for Ravi Varma when he finally got there. He had never previously witnessed fancy dress parties, horse races, and the very popular Nautch girls that would have shocked his people at home. Now, he made this watercolor later on, and in the background here, Radha and Krishan. But interestingly, at the back, two of the Nautch girls that he saw at Baroda in the typical pose that is actually in a photograph that hangs in Baroda Palace. Now, he reached Baroda, but how did he get to Baroda? He lived in a very isolated part of the country, literally the very tip of India, at a great distance from Baroda. In the detail, this is the map of Kerala, and Trivandrum is way down there, which you see in the detail underlined in red. The blue that you see in the map are the waterways of Kerala. So it's a very long way. The railways during his time stopped in what is now Tamil Nadu. So that's a very long way he made through the waterway and into Tamil Nadu, where the railways started. But, so he made these journeys slowly, first getting to Madras, and on later years, he went on to Baroda. The aristocrats of Kerala, dominated, as I said, by the Brahmins. They were not even allowed to cross the seas because I think the Brahmins were afraid that these aristocrats, the Kshatriyas, would be exposed to the open world, and therefore the Brahmins would lose control over them. So they were banned from crossing the seas. And even Ravi Varma, for all his very adventurous spirit, never took the chance, and he never crossed the seas. But what happened? that Ravi Varma was able to get to Baroda. The railways were being developed and became Ravi Varma's means of escape. Railways were an all-India venture started by the British for their own convenience. They required this rapid form of transport to travel back and forth and to carry their troops and other goods over the large expanse of India. Before Ravi Varma could be stopped, he was off to Madras on the southern line, and by 1881, he was on his way to Baroda for the investiture and the grand wedding for which he had begged an invitation. These are two drawings that Ravi Varma made waiting at various railway stations. They're very charming. Here's, the woman quarreling with the coolie, and so these drawings made at railway stations. Railways brought many other changes in their wake. Trains made it possible for urgent dispatches, documents, and letters to reach the British in good time. The postal and telegraph system appeared on the scene to be immediately adapted into the lifestyle of upper-class Indians as well. Such a phenomenon was naturally to appear in Ravi Varma's paintings. Details which we often miss or take for granted. We don't see how these changes came into his paintings. Look at that. Here is a woman reading a letter. When we see such a painting, you'll see the woman, you won't see the letter. But sure, there is a letter in her hand, which shows it's a big thing. And Ravi Varma had to use it because receiving a letter was unusual in those times. Another one of a woman holding a letter. And here is this languid beauty who's reading a book. Now, these paintings also show us that there was literacy with the upper class women, and of course some of them during this period who became famous lawyers and doctors and activists. So there was also this kind of change coming at that time. It was a lifestyle of the British that brought many changes which were observed by Ravi Varma with a keen eye.